Good morning, students. I welcome you all to the next video session. Today we are going to talk about the first lesson of the democratic politics of social science. The lesson name is power sharing. So today we are going to learn what is power sharing. Okay, let us move into the subject. Okay, first I have given here what is power sharing, the definition. Power sharing among the three organs of the state, namely legislature, executive, judiciary, is very important for the proper functioning of the democracy. The idea of power sharing has emerged in opposition to the notion of undivided political power. In a democracy, everyone has a voice in shaping of the public policies. To understand how democracies handle demands for power sharing, here we are going to discuss the forms of power sharing in Belgium and Sri Lanka. Okay, Belgium is a federal state in Western Europe. It is area-wise and population-wise smaller than the state of Haryana. It has borders with Netherlands, France, Germany and Luxembourg. Its ethnic composition is very complex. Out of the total population of the country, 59% live in the Flemish region and speak Dutch language. Other 40% people live in the Wallonia region and speak French. The remaining 1% speak German. The capital of Belgium is Brussels, where 80% people speak French while 20% are Dutch speaking. The minority French speaking community was relatively rich and powerful. This made the Dutch speaking community angry, who got the benefit of economic development and education much later. So this gives you the basic understanding the demography of Belgium. Next, tensions between the French and Dutch communities. The social disparity led to tensions between Dutch and French speaking communities during the 1950s and 1960s. This tension was more acute in Brussels with a special problem. It was that Dutch speaking people constituted a majority in the country but minority in the capital. Next, accommodation in Belgium. The Belgian leaders took a different path by recognizing the existence of regional differences and cultural diversities of the country. Between 1970s and 1993, the Constitution of Belgium was amended 4 times. Following steps were taken by its leader. First, the Constitution prescribes that the number of Dutch and French speaking ministers shall be equal in the central government. Some special laws require the support of majority members from each linguistic group, so that no single community can make decision unilaterally. The state government are not subordinate to the central government. More parts of the central government have been given to the state government of 2 regions of the country. That was the second point. Third point is Brussels has a separate government in which both Dutch and French speaking people have equal representation. Apart from the central and state government, there is a third kind of government called community government, in which members belonging to one language community, Dutch, French and German speaking, no matter where they live. The government has the powers regarding cultural, educational and language related issues. Belgian model has worked well so far which avoided civic strife between these two major communities, and country still remains united. Brazil was chosen as the headquarters of the European Union from the very beginning. So in this paragraph you could understand how the accommodation was made in Belgium. Okay, next, Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is an island nation in the Indian Ocean. It is just a few kilometers off the southern coast of Tamil Nadu. Sri Lanka has a diverse population of about 2 crore people, with 74% being Sinhalese and 18% are Tamils. The Sri Lankan Tamils called the native Tamils, they constituted 13% of the population or concentrated in north and eastern part of Sri Lanka. Most of the Sinhala speaking people are Buddhist, while most of the Tamils are Hindus and Muslims. Indian Tamils are the one whose forefathers came from India as a plantation workers during the colonial rule. Later they settled in Sri Lanka, are called as Indian Tamils. Okay. Indian Tamils are constitute 5% of the population. There are about 7% of the Christians also. Okay. Next, majoritarianism in Sri Lanka. Majoritarianism is a concept which signifies a belief that majority community should be able to rule a country in whichever the way it wants, by simply disregarding the wishes and needs of the minorities. So when Sri Lanka became an independent nation in 1948, the leaders of Sinhala community established the dominance over the government. In 1956, an act was passed which recognized Sinhalas as their only official language, thus disregarding Tamil. The government followed preferential policies that favored Sinhalas applicants for university position and government jobs. A new constitution stipulated that the state shall protect and promote Buddhism. All these government measures gradually increased the feeling of alienation among Sri Lankan Tamils. They felt that none of the major political parties led by the Buddhist Sinhala leaders were sensitive to their language and culture. So the relation between the Sinhala and Tamil communities became strained over the time. Next, the struggles of Sri Lankan Tamils. The Sri Lankan Tamils launched parties and struggles for the recognition of Tamil as an official language. They demanded regional autonomy and equality of opportunity in securing education and jobs, but their demand was repeatedly denied. By the 1980s, several political organizations like LTTE, that is Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam, were formed, demanding an independent Tamil Eelam in northern and eastern parts of Sri Lanka. The conflict between these two communities soon turned into a civil war. The civil war, which resulted in the killing of thousands of people of both communities. This civil war was also caused the terrible setback to the social, cultural and economic life of the country. Many families were forced to leave the country as refugees and lots of people lost their livelihood. With these examples, we could understand that the Belgium leaders have realized that the unity of the country is possible only by respecting the feelings and interests of different communities and religions. Whereas in Sri Lanka, it shows us a contrasting example. It shows us that If a majority community wants to force its dominance over others and refuses to share power, it can undermine the unity of the country. So dear students, I request all of you to kindly read the lesson line by line so that you could be able to understand that whether the concepts are clear. So if you do not understand, don't hesitate to ask doubts. So please go through the book carefully. Thank you, students.